Do you know where the term nonsense comes from? Does anybody know? Nonsense comes, I think, from France, end of the Dark Ages. And they had been, France, the revolution went horribly because they hated religion. And religion and God had been confused. They're not the same. God is God. Religion is separate. Okay? Hopefully, religion will get you to God. Sometimes it doesn't. In France, it didn't. And they hated that. And so when the church started losing its grip on people because everything was written in Latin, the average person couldn't read it. And so you would say, wait a minute, why do I have to do that? And the politician would say, well, because it's a law, and, our law is backed up by God, right, preacher? And he'd go, oh, yep, it's right in this book that you can't read, okay? So people looked at that and said, from here on out, nothing that you can't taste, smell, feel, see, if you can't sense it, it's nonsense, and we're not doing it anymore. Because anyone can drill anything into you, okay? People have been taken down the wrong road with the Bible that have led to, the witch hunts and Inquisition and everything else. You can go the wrong way. You have to do it, but the Enlightenment was not just about God. It introduced two new things. What were they? You had God already. The world was operating under God. But what had been squashed? Science and reason. Reason is where it comes in. Don't take somebody's word for it. And this is one of the problems. There's nobody doing critical thinking now. You're told something and you're like, yep, okay, that's it. Nobody raises their hand and says, wait a minute, why is that true? Who said that was true? What was the argument against that? You have to be curious. Very few people go to school, and it's not unusual because somebody else is paying for it. But believe me, if you ever drop out of school and then later decide to go back and you have to pay for it yourself, it'll be a different experience. But when you're curious and you want to go to school because you want to know the truth, you want to find answers. You don't want somebody to tell you the answers. You want to learn how to find the answers. That's when reason kicks in. So when somebody introduces a self-evident truth, what did Thomas Paine write that started the American Revolution, that got us to the Declaration of Independence? Does anybody know? What was the name of Thomas Paine's? Yes.
Common sense.
Common sense. So what is that? Reason. Reason. Listen, people. You know this, and this because you've been taught it. But let's look at this situation. Do these two fit? No, they don't. Now, if you're blindly indoctrinated, which I think is happening now in America to a lot of people. In fact, most people have been indoctrinated. I was indoctrinated. They don't plug reason into it. And so you just take it, and that's dangerous. But when I engage with you and say, here are the facts, question everything, take it home, tear it apart, toss and turn, argue with it. What does the word Israel mean? Does anybody know? Yes, one who wrestles with God. God wants you to wrestle with him. He wants you. He's your dad. And any dad doesn't want you to stay away from fear and just go, yeah, that's my dad, and I don't know anything about him, and I'm not going to ask him anything, because if I do, I'm being used by the devil. And no, he wants you. He wants you to know him. Wrestle with him. Argue every step of the way. Because believe me, he has the answers. And if you've ever read, how many people have read Plato? Okay? Everybody here should read Plato. You will realize, and then maybe give it 5 more years, you will realize that every question that you have boiling up in you, that you're like, I don't know, this doesn't make sense, is in Plato. Same questions. Different answers. Some of them don't even have answers. We're all going through the same thing over and over again. It's made for us to question ourselves. It's made for us. That's why I said, you're going to have to choose freedom yourself. You're probably going to have to do it, unfortunately, at war. But you're going to have to answer, are we going to be free or not? It's not worth fighting for if you don't know what it is.